our subconscious mind is running a different narrative. It's saying, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, I need more. And so we have to be more conscious in saying, I'm abundant, I have so much security, I have so much safety, I have such a refuge of safety that surrounds me. I continue to show myself the ways that that is true ongoingly through my actions, through my behaviors, and prioritizing my well-being. Hey you, I'm Anissa. Today's video is for anyone who wants to strengthen their feeling of home within themselves and also in their surroundings. Maybe you felt some level of unsteadiness. Maybe you have been feeling, wanting to feel more security, more grounded, more safety. Ultimately, returning to the feeling of belonging where we are is the intention of this video. Most of my videos are reflections, sharing from my lived experience, as I believe we are all each other's healers. We provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. This video is for those who've been feeling unsteady in their home life, unsteady within themselves, who are wanting that feeling of security and grounding. First, I'll share some writing that pertains to this topic. I always encourage you to embark on honoring your creativity, allowing your creative energy to flow through you, your life force energy, through writing and journaling. Morning Pages by Julia Cameron is one of my favorite places to first point people to get into the flow state of writing more regularly. Another is absolutely anything that lights you up. Dancing, singing, painting, whatever creative expression allows you to feel like you're honoring your inner child, honoring your inner world. Second, I'll share how this story more particularly related to this topic and takeaways and tips to support your feeling of feeling at home and grounding within yourself. Beginning with the writing now. Call back my power is the affirmation of the day. What a wild thing to displace our power in people, places, and things and find ourselves wondering why we're so tired. Our energy attached to these focuses external to us, of course we're pulled around, feeling unsteady, feeling ungrounded. I laid in my bed and felt like I was on my deathbed. I was 24 hours into food poisoning symptoms and not able to stand, eat, obviously, just in the state of surrender. In that time, I felt the presence of the only body I'll get to care for in this lifetime, and it was powerless physically. It's inner power that holds us in these times. When vitality returned to me a few days later, I saw my leakages, energy leakages in my mind, thinking of a place of paradise and a future fantasy, emotional too, heart energy leakages of longing for deeper intimacy and connection. But I said to myself, you are going to find nourishment you seek here in LA, here in the people you're in the presence of, here in this body, mind, and soul. Later that evening, I was surrounded by a circle of women here in LA. We sat in meditation, and in a moment, I felt home, deeply internally and externally. Trust it to be here. Trust home is within you and always seeking to show itself in your surrounding. Taking steps to feel wholeness takes intention. Though the desire to self-abandon may arise as an escape to the fantasy of being saved from the mundane is the best battleground, where we confront our own shadow and intrusive thoughts and say, enough. We win in embodiment. I am enough. This is enough. Home is here. Like Dorothy, kicking her heels and saying, there's no place like home. We take our power back this way. So that was some writing that I did yesterday around this topic of feeling and desiring more home feeling. But today my pattern app reaffirmed that with the prompt, how do you define home and belonging for yourself? For me, home is a place that I can shed anything that isn't me. I've loved so many places and people because they've lit up parts of me. Parts. I love Rio de Janeiro because it lights up this vibrant, dancey, extroverted, lively part of me. I love New York City because it highlights this work hard, ambition, creative in the mix, innovative side of me. I love Mazunte, Mexico because it lights up my hippie, free-spirited, earth child, meditator, yogi side of me. I've dated and been in relationships with people who amplify these different sides of me as well. And that is usually what we really love about our chosen partners, family, friends. They highlight and they allow us aspects of ourselves, but we deserve to be in the permission of our wholeness with just ourselves as well. In visiting my mom and celebrating her 70th birthday for her, the last day, I got food poisoning, as I shared in my writing, and I came back to this apartment and was just out of commission for a few days. And in that feeling of powerlessness, I also came back to this feeling of home within my body. And I also had to do shadow work and inner work in that time of sitting there physically helpless. And in that time, really came to the awareness that I deeply appreciated LA for nothing. I appreciated LA for really giving me not much of anything. It's a place of neutrality. I had visited LA maybe like 20 some odd times. I dated somebody long distance here. I have extended family in the area. I'd spent so much time in this city and never really grew a taste for it. It didn't light up anything in me. It didn't feel very additive. It didn't like amplify a part of me. It was just a place of neutrality. And now in calling this place home, what I do notice is that this is a place that I can shed. This is a place where I can tune into my inner world really easily. It's really special to get to that level of graduation around what is home, what we're attracted to, because oftentimes what we're seeking in the external, people, places, things, are parts, not the wholeness that we are. When we get to a place of actually feeling the wholeness and honoring the wholeness that is within you, then you can appreciate where you are more consistently in the physical world, in the external world. I looked up the definition of home. Home is a place of refuge or safety. The second definition is that it's a nature reserve. I like both, but deeply, home should be this place where you feel able to come into yourself, where you feel deeply safe, you feel a deep level of security, food, water, shelter, security are met. And it's really important to create that for yourself in your lifestyle to be able to exit that survival mode. As we touched upon in my last video, if you haven't checked that out, definitely go back and take a look at it. In this personal feeling of being like LA is neutrality to me, it's a place of refuge. It feels like home because it's a place that allows me to tune into my inner world. There's been a celebration and a feeling of grounding and graduation in that sense. And I recommitted myself to calling this home by actually buying a car. I've been renting cars, and so I'm super excited for that to be arriving on Friday, being shipped to me, and taking some additional steps to more deeply nurture friendships here, and committing to my home and my physical sanctuary. The lighting fixture behind me is an example of that. Buying myself flowers is an example of that. Just doing a little bit more of this internal nurturing and nurturing of this sanctuary space physically, us taking more time to do meditations. And I want to share some tips with you if you've been in this similar place of feeling unsteadiness, feeling ungroundedness, attaching your energy to things, places, people that are draining you, how to reclaim that energy, reclaim that power back into yourself so that you can feel grounded and landed where you are. And from that place of steadiness and groundedness, make choices that continue to amplify your wholeness. So I have 5 tips on how to feel more at home where you are with yourself. You don't have to be on your deathbed to be in touch with the feeling of mortality and groundedness. I do find it helpful practice to meditate on death often. That's not my first tip, but my first tip is to find those places that make you feel at home physically. So my former place used to be in Prospect Park in Brooklyn when I was living there. Being under a tree hugely brought me the feeling of being at home, connecting and co-regulating with the trees. For you, it might be going to a dark place. Sometimes people need like a blackout space where they can just really tune internally and go into their inner world. For other people, they might need some solfeggio sounds, which is another recommendation that we'll get into in a little bit. But finding something that brings you the sense of wholeness within yourself. A physical space is really special. And for many of us, we don't have an entire city that feels like home or entire country that feels like home. It might just be like a small corner. It might be a closet, quite literally. But finding that place where you can find peace and stillness and safety and just sink in. Tip number 2 is going back to the solfeggio sounds or healing frequencies. So this became a big part of my internal healing process, to turn on the frequencies that I was most needing to soothe, to amplify, to heal, to nurture. So the lower chakra, our root chakra, the first base spine chakra, visualizing red there, turning on the solfeggio sound frequencies of 396 hertz might support you in feeling vibrationally connected to that feeling of security, to that feeling of peace, to that feeling of all my needs are met, and really rooting and anchoring in that. You can find some really awesome content now these days on YouTube where you can find these meditations or healing frequencies, and I highly recommend just taking a practice of sitting with them every single night for about 20 minutes and really anchoring in that sensation. Number 3 was inner child work. This isn't something that's an overnight to do, but this is a lifelong journey where we go back to the parts of ourselves and the version of ourselves before the age of 7, and we revisit that person that we were and what experiences we were having, and gain a better understanding of what things were arising for us that made us feel unstable, that made us feel less secure. For myself, and going back and doing a little bit more of that excavation, really felt this level of physical and geographic insecurity of moving. I was constantly moving and changing from the time I was 4. My mom was getting her yoga certification, and we were living out of basically an ashram and yoga center, and then living internationally and coming back to the States. And so there was a lot of transition for me in my childhood. But for you, in going back, you can also notice what patterns were there, patterns of emotional neglect, patterns of feeling financial insecurity, and just do some reminding yourself that the place that you're in now is not the place that you were as a child, that you've grown so much, that you've healed so much, that you're in such a more abundant place, such a more secure place. And if you're not, how can you build structures to support that level of financial security? And those are really big life changes that you might have to make to be in that place, to be able to feel groundedness. But they're worthwhile because you are worth it, to eliminate the things that are draining our financial resources or draining our mental resources or our emotional resources, and really start to tune into, what do I really need? What I really honestly need to feel secure? Because you're deserving of feeling that today in this lifetime, not just as a retiree, as is emphasized in the United States. Kind of dropped into number 4 with that one because it was really around Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, water, shelter, making sure that you have security around those aspects of life, and really being honest with yourself around your priorities to be able to have those. Number 5 is affirmations. Saying to yourself, I call back my power to myself. I am enough. I am whole. I am healed. I am grounded. I am secure. I am safe. Saying affirmations like these are definitely not the as feathery positive ones, but I always love to share affirmations because it starts to rewire our brains and our mindset to be in the language and in the saying of things that we really want to affirm to ourselves, because oftentimes our subconscious mind is running a different narrative. It's saying, I'm not enough, I don't have enough, I need more. And so we have to be more conscious in saying, I'm abundant, I have so much security, I have so much safety. I have such a refuge of safety that surrounds me. I continue to show myself the ways that that is true ongoingly through my actions, through my behaviors, and prioritizing my well-being. That's why I've been enjoying kicking off my writing with the affirmations for you all, because they're helpful for me too, to really have a affirmation to anchor in when we want to tell ourselves a different story that is entertaining our ego and is maybe destructive and takes us into a survival work hard mode, but it isn't healthy. And so cutting out that from our way of operation takes time, it takes a lot of discipline, and you're worthy of that. Deep exhale, deep breathing, also so important. Thank you for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for weekly uploads. If there was a part of this video that particularly resonated with you, I would also love to hear so in the comments what parts and sections stood out to you. What tips will you be implementing? Are there tips that you can share with the community of folks that we are building? We've grown on YouTube. So excited for you in supporting that. If there's somebody that you think would benefit from this video, please share this video with them. I'm sending you so much love in this week ahead. I'm sending you so much of the feeling of safety and security and grounding and feeling more at home within yourselves and in your external world. Appreciate you being here.